This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act and JSA 10:4-6 et sec, notice of which was sent to the record in the Star Ledger and was posted on the municipal bulletin board.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Here.
Councilmember Sims?
Here.
Councilmember Greenman?
Here.
Mayor LaBrus?
Here. This time, would everybody please rise for the flag salute? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the COW meeting of May 5th and the regular meeting of May 6th, 2014.
Mayor, we have to do them separately.
Okay, let's
For
do
the
May
COW
5th.
meeting, everybody was present, so everyone can vote. For the regular meeting, Councilmember Pataglia and Councilwoman Greenman were not here.
Okay, so let's do the COW meeting first. May I have a motion for May 5th, 2014 COW session, please?
I'll offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. And now for the regular meeting on May 6th, 2014. May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
I wasn't there.
Okay. And Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Okay. Now we have a very good thing to do. We have a gentleman in our presence tonight, I believe. He's 100 years old. His name is Catello Charles DeSalvo. So I'm going to come down there, I guess, and read the proclamation. Move down there. How are you, sir? Honor to meet you.
Yeah, Tom.
Congratulations. I hope I make it that far. Most of these are great things in your life. You know why that happened. Sir, I have a proclamation for you from the office of the mayor of the city of Hackensack. Whereas the city of Hackensack desires to bestow upon Catello Charles DeSalvo this proclamation in recognition of his 100th birthday, and whereas Charles DeSalvo was born on May 3rd, 1914 in Brooklyn, New York, the fourth of 5 children to Andrea and Severia DeSalvo, and at the age of 3, along with his 3 brothers, was sent to St. John Home for Boys after the death of his father, until he was 16 years old and graduated from high school. And whereas Mr. DeSalvo joined the Civilian Conservation Group, where he cut fire roads in California, fought gypsy moths on Long Island, and then joined the U.S. Navy during World War II. Served aboard the LCI G-404, which was involved in the Asiatic Pacific Campaign, invasion of Palau Islands, to which his ship received awards and citations. And whereas Charles DeSalvo worked for, excuse me if I don't pronounce this right, Chrysler's Watch Band Factory until 1967, then took a full-time job at Stern's Department Store in Paramus, where he worked until he retired. And whereas Charles DeSalvo married Catherine Catchison in 1945, and sadly Catherine passed away shortly after giving birth to their son Christopher, he then married Gertrude Turk in 1950 and had a son Charles and a daughter Denise, and has resided in Hackensack since 1954, and has been blessed with 4 grandchildren. Now, therefore, I, John P. LaBrus, Jr., Mayor of the City of Hackensack, along with the members of the City Council, do hereby extend our sincerest congratulations to Mr. Charles DeSalvo on his 100th birthday. Thank you, sir. Before we, that was a moment of celebration, and unfortunately, we also have a moment of sadness tonight. Ernest Cahey, as many of you know, has passed away, a long battle with being ill. Ernie was a cornerstone in this community. He served in the service. He was Knights of Columbus. He was the Elks. He was the Boy Scouts. He was American Legion. Keep it coming, guys. I know there's plenty. He has been involved ever since I moved to this community 35 years ago, and he's been a cornerstone here, and he'll be sadly missed. He always ran the Memorial Day ceremony down at the Revolutionary War ceremony, and we missed him this year there because he was too ill to attend. But he did do last year's Veterans Day ceremony, so again, sadly missed. So if we could have a moment of silence, please, for Ernie. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. First, just to let everyone know that the Street Festival is scheduled for September 27th. I'm sure there'll be notices put out and posted. Mr. Dibb will probably handle that. The concert that we missed, that was canceled for the Duprees, has been rescheduled for August 12th. And not to forget, we have our summer concert for tomorrow. That's the Infernos. We met with the state housing officials on the 16th regarding the group homes, because we had a few residents who were interested in finding out some more information. And I think that was pretty successful. The Deputy Mayor was there, and also Councilman Sims. I think all the residents left informed and satisfied.
Okay.
The Planning Board approved 150 to 170 Main Street. That was good. Coles Avenue paving update. The project manager, we had a portion of Coles Avenue from Lewis to Main Street, and somehow he's found a way. He's trying to get that paved because it has been an issue for years now. And I know it was under CBDG, but he found a way where we're going to have some money where we'll be able to take care of that portion. It's in such disrepair. Also, we had about I guess close to a year ago, I had a claim with New Jersey Transit where there was damage to Hackensack property, and it took us quite a while, but finally we did have a settlement. That was a $35,000 invoice of damages, and we finally got a settlement of $30,000, which was pretty excellent. And that's all I had, man.
Okay. Moving on. Resolution 247-14.
Okay, this is the final adoption of ordinance number 23-2014, an ordinance authorizing the City of Hackensack sale of the vacated portions of the public rights-of-way identified as Kip Street and Lodi Street to Golden Hub, Inc. and 295 Pilot Fly Realty, LLC, pursuant to private auction. This ordinance has been advertised pursuant to law and now calls for a public hearing. Need a motion?
May I have a motion open to the public, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. If anybody would like to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance only, now is your time to come forward. Seeing none, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hackensack, County of Bergen, and State of New Jersey that ordinance 23-2014 has passed its second and final reading and is hereby adopted. I need a motion.
Motion, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Excuse me, Resolution 248-14.
This is the introduction of ordinance number 24-2014. It's a refunding bond ordinance of the City of Hackensack in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, providing for the payment of amounts owing to others for taxes levied in the city, appropriating $8,650,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $8,650,000 aggregate principal amount of bonds or notes of the city for financing the cost thereof.
May I have a motion, please?
Offered.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye.
Be it resolved that the above ordinance being ordinance 24-2014 as introduced is now passed on first reading, and that said ordinance shall be considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on August 18th, 2014 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the regular meeting place of the City Council, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance, and that the city clerk be and she is hereby authorized and directed to publish said ordinance according to law with a notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Thank you. Resolution 24914.
This is a resolution for renewal of liquor license for the 2014-15 timeframe. It's for Miss Lenora's and Hackensack Wines.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Resolution 250-14.
This is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Dennis Callow Esquire.
Motion, please?
Offered. Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Resolution 251-14.
This is a resolution authorizing the transfer of liquor license from Don Pompadoro 2 Inc. to Don Pompadoro Restaurante LLC.
Roll call? I'm sorry. Motion, please. Getting ahead of myself.
Offered.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Resolution 252-14.
This is a resolution authorizing tax refunds.
A motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Resolution 253-14.
Is resolution authorizing the refund for for the summer playground program.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Resolution 254-14.
53.
250,
4.
4.
yeah, 254-14.
Okay.
Is a resolution authorizing the amendment of the not-to-exceed amount for labor attorney Juan Fernandez.
Motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Resolution 255-14.
Is a resolution authorizing the cancellation of the 2013 sewer charges.
Have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Resolution 256-14.
This is a resolution authorizing the application to the local finance board pursuant to NJSA 40A:2-55.
May I have a motion, please?
Offered. Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Resolution 257-14.
This is a resolution requesting approval of items of revenue and appropriation NJSA 40A:4-87 for the 2014 summer program.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Resolution 258-14.
is a resolution requesting approval of items of revenue and appropriation NJSA 40A:4-87 for 2014 Clean Communities Grant.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 259-14.
Is a resolution awarding the contract for genuine OEM parts and labor rates for repairs on international trucks owned by the City of Hackensack to On-Site Fleet Service, Inc.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 260-14.
Is a resolution authorizing the mayor, John P. LaBrus Jr., as a signatory on Treatment Works Approval Permit TWA-1 for 150-170 Main Street, Block 302, lots 4 through 10.
May I have a motion, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Resolution 261-14.
Is a resolution authorizing the execution of settlement agreement for Murillo versus the City of Hackensack.
May I have a motion, please?
Offered.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Last but not least, Resolution 262-14.
This is the payment of bills. The current fund has $788,153.21. Grants is $3,768.95. Payroll was $1,499,433.69. Public parking system is $9,635.92. Capital fund is $37,929.11. Escrow is $25,570.26. Trust account is $49,056.58. Total expenditures, $2,413,547.72. And interfunds and transfers is $103,684.27.
Okay. May I have a motion to accept the bills, please?
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. Okay, this time I'd like a motion to open to the public, please.
Offer.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus.
Aye. At this time, if you'd like to speak, come up to the podium, give your name and address to the clerk. You have 5 minutes. I just ask that you be civil. Thank you.
Richard Salkin, Hackensack, New Jersey. We're still waiting for an answer on Maria Battaglia's raise. Do I get it tonight?
Mr. Sullivan, this is still in process. I'm sorry, but it will be taken care of.
When? I know there's a lot on your plate, and I love you, you know that. But the dates on this, guys, you gotta take this seriously, and I'll tell you why. You've known about this since December. I got up here May 20th. I was back June 9th. I was back July 8th, and I'm back tonight. And I want to read you something. A public servant is guilty of official misconduct when, with purpose to obtain a benefit for another, he knowingly refrains from performing a duty which is imposed upon him by law or is clearly inherent in the nature of his office. You guys are supposed to be defending the city funds. Their $10,000 raise was given to someone who happens to be the spouse of a member of council. The position was eliminated. You know that. You knew that back in December, and nothing has happened.
Mayor, if I could just jump in on that. This has been the subject of personnel discussions that I am aware that the interim city manager has had with council, and the appropriate action is being taken to protect the city's interests. The publication of that information will be made when there is no longer a need for it to be in an executive session. But rest assured, from the city council should rest assured that the matter is being handled expeditiously by the current interim city manager.
I will take your word in good faith as well, Mr. Scrivo. Now, John,
Yes, sir.
I've come up here a bunch of times. Stephen Gelber has come up here a bunch of times. That plaque on the wall with Melfi's signature on it, that doesn't apply to this council. You have got to establish rules. You can't just say, I know what you're going to say, so you got to take care of it. You really do. And the funny thing I can't figure out is, I looked at the bills for Mr. Scrivo's firm back in April, and young Mr. Morris was working on an ordinance for council meeting procedures. Now, I don't think it should be an ordinance. I think it should be a resolution, but I'll settle for anything at this point. Why don't you act upon it?
Mayor, if I could jump in.
Wait, you're using my time, Tom.
Well, all right, I'll be quick then, Rick. The rules of procedure have been drafted in draft form for the council's comments. They have, in fact, council members have provided comments to the city attorney's office. I suspect that the council will be ready to introduce, and I don't disagree that it would be by resolution, but council should be ready to adopt those. I think a very soon-to-be upcoming meeting, either the next or the one after.
Again, I will accept your good faith tonight, Mr. Scrivo. That's good news, it really, frankly, because it can't go on like this. But John, be careful. I say this to you. I want to read you something. I'm trying to impress Mr. Scrivo that I can actually find a Supreme Court case. It is a prized American privilege to speak one's mind, although not always with perfect good taste, on all public institutions. Thus, we consider this case against the background of a profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues should be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials. That's the society we live in, John. It isn't always pretty.
I don't disagree with you, sir.
Sometimes I may say things that make your skin crawl, but I got a right to do it. I want to direct not so kind comments to the person all the way to your left. I'm going to do it because she's well deserving of it. That's all I've got for you tonight. Have a good one.
You too, sir.
Well, one more thing.
Yes.
Stop moving your meetings around because it's hard to hit a moving target. You know,
It's not working?
not here.
I'm only kidding, you know that. We did that because of the concert series.
Evening, Mayor.
Good evening, sir.
Jason Nuttamacher, 235 Prospect Avenue. And a couple of different things I want to speak about, so I got my little list here. First, Ms. Greenman, I came late to the Cal meeting, and I didn't want to just jump in there, but what you did last week or last meeting to Mr. Pascal was absolutely disgraceful. I'm not here to defend Regina. She doesn't need my help. But you're a councilwoman, and to say what you said about her during your public comment, during your comments at the end, every time I come into this chamber, I can't think you can't get any lower. Every week, you prove me wrong. And it's hard for me to admit when I'm wrong about something, and that I'm wrong about. You know, it was just distasteful. And again, I'm not defending Regina. She doesn't need my help. But to say that, which probably was something done in privilege, even if it wasn't, to say that about another resident in a public forum, when you're sitting behind, your nameplate there that says councilwoman, as someone who loves this city, I'm begging you, just act like it. We'll take once every month. One time, it won't kill you. Have some respect for people. It's not difficult. I disagree with a lot of people up here, but me and the other four, Mr. Scrivo, we go back and forth, and I think it's respectful. And I don't know, maybe it's a lost cause. It was just classless. It really was. Some people spoke about my Oprah lawsuit after I spoke last week or last meeting, and I wanted to, Mr. Morris and the mayor seemed to say because the League of Municipalities supported your position that somehow meant anything. ACLU supported my position, and to be honest, not one of them mattered because they don't get to wear a robe. The only person who does get to wear a robe said I was right, Mr. Scrivo was wrong. So just because the League of Municipalities appear to agree with you, doesn't mean anything. You still wasted $20,000 of taxpayer money.
Agreed.
Madam Deputy Mayor, respectfully, you made comments at the end of the meeting last time about the experts, the city attorneys we have. Let me read you a passage of Judge Cotillo's opinion, and let's see if you still believe we have expert city attorneys. Plaintiff Nunnemacher's final pre-suit demand for the records was January 26, 2014, where he concluded his email by stating, quote, "If I don't receive the documents fully responsive to my request on by January 30th, I'll have no choice but to file the appropriate court action," end quote. He filed suit on March 7th, 2014, and it was not until the day the city was served, March 4th, 2014, that the city produced the records to him. A clearer causal link between suit and record production could not be drawn. Now here's one of my favorite parts of the opinion. Asked that oral argument why the records were not produced pre-suit, counsel, Mr. Scrivel's firm, posited that in the crush of business at City Hall, plaintiff's request was simply forgotten about. An expert, Kathy? Your experts forgot about my Oprah request. $20,000 because they forgot. And you're up here, someone who takes pride in budgets and monetary expenditures, they forgot about it. What are we getting for our money? I'm many things. I freely admit it, and God knows you should ask some of my ex-girlfriends what they think of me. One thing I'm not is forgettable. So, $20,000 because the city attorney forgot about my Oprah request. I came here a few weeks ago and I said that the city attorney's law firm should reimburse the city what you paid to Mr. Leonard and should discount the bill $6,000. Has anyone looked into that? This is now borderline malpractice. They forgot about it. After 2 emails, I came here, 3 phone calls. Forgot about it. That's not, to me, that's not an expert in anything. Similar on that end, by the way, I made an Oprah request for the June 23rd Cal recording, which the city manager directed the city clerk to record, and I was denied, saying because Mr. Rotino paid for it himself, it wasn't a public record. Mr. Leonard is not shy. We got no problem filing another lawsuit. So I'm here because I love this city, and I don't want more money wasted. Please, give me the CD. I will pay the 50 cents for the CD. I got no problem doing that. I'm asking now, Mr. Scrivo, for 1 week. I think that's more than reasonable. I made the request 30 days ago.
What session was that, Jason?
June 23rd Cal meeting.
We don't have it.
Mayor,
It was never
Mayor,
given to us.
That's
I
my
don't.
time, Mayor. My time.
All right,
Cop it or...
finish. We'll get it later. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I came, I think it was the June 24th meeting, and I would like you to clarify at the end of the session what you knew about Mr. Catania's drug possession conviction, because you seem to indicate you knew about it before we hired him. And that's to me is very disturbing. So I'm just asking you to clarify how this man got hired. That's why I'm here asking, John. I'm not.
I found about it probably about a month ago.
A month. Thank you.
That was it.
And is appropriate actions being taken?
Only because it was shown to me on a website.
Thank you.
That's it. Came up on the website.
Mayor, in response to the resident's prior question, you can ask the clerk, but it hasn't been addressed to me, this Oprah request for the disc, but I don't believe it's in the city's possession.
I don't believe so either.
We don't have it. Well, it's, I'd have,
This was raised when it was done, about our accessibility.
it wasn't given to us, so I don't have it in my possession.
did it as a city.
We gave you the name of the videographer. Well, okay.
We could try to get it.
Yeah, we'll try.
We'll try to get it.
We will try.
Okay.
Sir, how are you?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm Rich Serbo, 46 Spring Valley Ave, Hackensack. And who is Dennis Callow? That just hit me.
Dennis Calla was an attorney, sir.
Okay, okay. I just want to start. I know time is limited, so democracy is fleeting. So I'll be expeditious. Okay. I want to start with. There's a back and forth about people that have lived in Hackensack, people who haven't. This and that. It goes back and forth, and. Hackensack people are great, but you know, if someone drops down from here, you know, from Mars tomorrow, and he is a worthy citizen, he is welcome. So it sounds as if some kind of, you know, excluding is starting, and so everyone's welcome in Hackensack. Okay. Second is the police. We've heard a lot about the police in the past, now, and forever. And you just settled with them in a very generous way. So it's a good time to, I think, remind everyone that civilians make the rules in Hackensack. And we know they are in the line of fire. We respect them very much, but we've heard enough about the police, okay? And that leads into what I was going to say about sharing services. Have you moved toward sharing services to maybe cut down some of the expense of these communities? I mean, it's unbelievable what these communities cost to run. It is, and you know it. Are we sharing services? Are we going to share services? Okay, and you mentioned assessments on an annual basis. I just wanted to get your thinking behind that, if you got a minute.
Well, one of the thoughts on, if you want me to answer now, or do you have more questions?
Well, I don't want it to cut into my time.
So then
but,
finish,
go
I'll
ahead.
answer it afterwards, and finish your time.
Okay. Well, let me say then that assessments go back to feudalism, okay? And it was a way of keeping people down in, you know, in the 1100s. So maybe we should move on. Maybe we should have some new thinking, okay? As for development, it seems like we're desperate for development in this town. It's in the air that we're desperate for development. And that senses to me that maybe we would give away the store when it comes to development. But are these development companies, you know, making any concessions? Are they making any grants to the city? You know, we need leadership to talk with them and explain to them that those things would benefit them also, to benefit our city by making concessions, giving grants along with your development project, because it's going to increase property value. It's going to gentrify some areas, and it's going to kick everybody out of areas that can't afford it. So that should be discussed also. And the last thing I have to say is that I'm not sure what this whole thing is back and forth with Miss Greenman. I've heard it now. I've heard it in past meetings. Blah blah blah. But I will stand here now and encourage her to speak up. Do not be muzzled. Don't let anyone muzzle you. You're a councilwoman. Say what you want. Stand up and say what you want. So that's it. Thank you very much, and have a great night. Mr. Costa, how are you?
Very good, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rich Gilbert.
Sir.
As Mr. Servo, I'm going to agree with him on something. Ms. Greenman, speak up, because every time you do, you're making it easier for all of us. I have to also address the cops. Mr. Costa was more than decent, as were you, Mayor and Deputy Mayor, in seeing that this travesty that went on with the cops came to an end, and it did. As far as to call a 0.5% raise overly generous, I think that's ludicrous and bizarre, but so are some of the other points that come from that direction. I want to mention about attorneys here. If the attorney bills are allowed to mount, and some of these defenses that we're taking are allowed to continue, Mr. O'Toole, McElroy, Fernandez that's with O'Toole are going to make Joe Ziza and Dennis Callow look like petty cash pokers by the time we get done. This is outrageous what's going on, some of these bills. A lot of mention about the $15,000 a month cap. Look at the additional billing that's coming out of Mr. Scrivo's firm. There's going to be no end to this. We've got to keep a handle on the legal bills. We're going to be right back to where we were. Well, we haven't really left there. It's just going to grow worse and worse. I'm urging this council to look at these legal bills and stop all this litigation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony Haverty, Berry Street in Hackensack. Speaking of the police contract, I would like to know what was the settlement as far as the percentage.
I'll leave
I
that to
heard
the
half
city
a
manager.
percent. I don't think it was half a percent.
1.5% over 3 years. One and a half.
1.5%.
That's correct.
over 3 years.
Yeah.
1.5 per
1.5
year, per year, for 3
One
years.
and a half
But it goes back a
Yes.
year and a half because they haven't had a contract for a year and a half.
2013, 14, and 15.
Okay. Okay. All right. I just wanted to know because I heard some other figures.
No, it was 1.5% each year.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else would like to speak? Now is your time. Give your name and address to the clerk, please. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
You stare it down, it's Parker Avenue. I had to write down what I was gonna say because it's not easy coming up here. I just want to take my time to clear up any misconceptions that may have arose. On June 23rd, I sent an email to the city manager at the time, Anthony, the city manager's assistant, Jackie, Glenn Zambrowski, and Al Borelli of the Building Inspection Department, stating the issues we were experiencing and the concerns we had. Please keep in mind that before all this occurred, we were unaware of the who's who in Hackensack. We were just trying to feel our way through the process, trying to ascertain some type of resolution. Amongst my family and fellow neighbors, we decided that we were going to take a stand and attend the first meeting in July to express what we were going through and to raise awareness. This was noted in the last paragraph of my email that I sent. After I sent this email, I honestly thought my email fell on deaf ears. No one reached out to me except for one member of your entire council who was willing to hear my concerns. And I actually recently found out that my email was forwarded to all the council members, yet I only heard from one. What I want to make clear tonight is that no one rallied us together. As adults and neighbors, we decided on our own to stand together. We were smart enough to make the decision of coming together long before anyone reached out to us. We decided to attend this meeting so our silent voices can finally be heard. No one coerced me or orchestrated me to speak. The words that were spoken were of my own. I can stand on my own 2 feet. And for the record, prior to this, I'll admit I wasn't involved in any of the politics of this city. I didn't even know who the council member was on the board. The only one I was familiar with at any time was Mayor LaBrosse because I went to school with your son. You see, I grew up in Hackensack. I attended Hillers, the middle school, and Hackensack High. I graduated from New Jersey's own Rutgers School of Engineering with a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial Engineering. I have worked in the pharmaceutical industry for the past 8 years and currently as a planning manager. Hackensack's educational system provided the foundation to where I am at today. I'm proud to be from Hackensack and rep the blue and gold colors. However, what I will say is that I'm not proud of any display of emotions that happened at the end of last week's meeting. We have to be better than this, and we have to strive to be better than this. On a final note, the one thing I definitely learned from attending my first meeting 2 weeks ago is that there is a lack of respect in these meetings. It is not easy coming up here and addressing the council with issues that may ruffle some feathers or may not be the popular opinion. As a young person, we are always encouraged to vote, to take a stand, to be active in our community, and to get involved. Well, that is really difficult to do when you are up here speaking and being heckled by some who do not share your opinion. And to make it worse, no one is stopping them. Not a gavel is raised, nor does anyone address it, even though it's your 5 minutes to speak freely. In my opinion, that is disrespectful to the person that has the courage to stand here and can actually discourage he or she to ever speak again. The exact opposite of trying to encourage those to use their voice and to be active in this community. But luckily, it hasn't deterred me from further speaking out on what I believe is to be unjust, and nor will I ever be intimidated. Like I stated last time, I just want my family to be left alone. When I wrote this speech, it wasn't easy. I'm 31 years old, I'm a young person. I love my parents like I'm pretty sure everyone else loves their parents. I love my family. I'm so grateful for what they have done for me. They've worked so hard so I can be where I'm at today as a young person. So I feel it's necessary for me to speak on their behalf as any other young person would. I'm not really interested in getting involved in the politics and the he said, she says, and the forums and the message boards. That's not what I'm out for. Because trust me, we all have better things to do with our time than to worry about that type of noise. But all I'm asking is for that my family who's worked so hard to bring me up in this community, just to have some peace. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Steve Gilbert, 304 Clinton Place. These should all be real easy for you guys because they're all old. Nothing new tonight. It's all housekeeping for me. As to Mr. Catania, you guys are taking back his health insurance, I take it, but is he gone yet? When is he going to be gone? I mean, maybe it's just something in the position, because I criticized the last one, and as Mr. Salkin, you quoted the decision, the citation from the decision. I'll spare the epithet and the harsh language tonight. I criticized Mr. Salkin last time for just empathizing with criminals. It turns from other representations that have been made that we now no longer have an empathizer, but we have an actual accused criminal as a prosecutor. Is he gone? When's he gone? He's got to be gone, right? When's he gone?
We haven't made that decision yet. We have made a decision. We're discussing his benefits. So
that seems like a pretty straightforward decision as to whether or not he's going to continue to be our prosecutor.
well, it's an option's not only in our hands.
That's not an at-will appointment from the council? The council has a vote on that one?
No, that is an at-will appointment by us.
So the decision's in your hands. Just, you might want to correct
True.
that. Are Ms. Greenman and Mr. Battaglia being excused from all discussions regarding Mr. Rotino's lawsuit because of their being named in the complaint as witnesses adverse to the city of Hackensack?
I would defer to council on that.
Mayor, in response, the city has counsel, Dominic Carmagnola. The issue has been addressed to Mr. Carmagnola, and he will advise the council accordingly. There has been no discussion of the Rotino litigation this evening, and the city is aware of, council's aware
I
of
don't
it.
want my time to run down on that. Will the public be made aware when that decision has been made?
Mayor, through you, it's not absolute that the public has to be made aware of it. That's going to be up to the individual council members who that affects. It is a litigation matter, so it would be appropriate for that to be kept from the public until the appropriate time. So I can't say for sure. It will be up to the council to decide that.
I'll give you the extra time that he's...
On Oprah, Mr. Nunemacher's legal fees and the outside billing, are those being reimbursed or are they being credited on our next billing cycle?
We haven't had that discussion. So,
Mr. Scrivo, the amount of billing, I mean, what are we talking here? 35,000? Is it even a percentage? Let's, do a little charity work here. Let's give it back. I mean, they're your mistakes. They're mistakes of your firm.
I'd love you to respond to that.
Mayor, I don't usually engage in discussion about our bills or our firm or our firm's reputation or the criticism.
That's not a reputation question.
The criticisms that are alleged.
Billing, and it's cited. I was there in the courtroom that day. I was there when Mr. Morris said, he basically said it was a mistake of our firm. It got lost in the hustle, in the hustle and bustle.
Mr. Mayor, if you'd like me to respond,
I'm sure you got a carrier. Put them on
I
notice.
can tell you this, Mr. Gilbert, as of yet, there has been no discussion amongst the council and
the
attorneys on that yet.
I think that you should have that discussion. I think you should report back the same as I asked you to report back about getting our money back, that the money that was billed outside of the cap that shouldn't have been billed outside the cap. And I still have yet to hear on that. Just to clear up a little issue that came across in all of the emails that I saw that went back and forth. Mr. Mangan, through the chair, when did I threaten to sue over the bills for car repairs?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, because you used that as an excuse to Ms. Canestrino why you weren't getting her something because you needed to spend time getting bills together because I threatened to sue because you wanted an extension. I never threatened to sue. So
Honestly, I don't know what you're talking about. Kathy?
I'll forward you the email where you told Ms. Canestrino that Gelber threatened to sue over bills for car repairs. I never did such a thing. I granted 3 extensions, and on the third 7-day extension, I granted a 4th, and what I said was that I was granting the extension, but I believed a month to be more than enough time to collect the bills. I never threatened a lawsuit, so please don't make a misrepresentation of what I did say and use it as an excuse to one of the council members.
Well, send me the email, and
I will.
I'll respond to you, because right now, I honestly...
I will. I'll
you
send
have
it
me
to
at
you.
a loss because I
I'll
don't know
send
what
it to
you're
you.
talking about.
And Ms. Greenman, what happened last meeting was disgusting, and I'll agree with everyone here that said that. But it seems you made another misrepresentation, because I did research that maybe you should have done when you said something about someone paying their taxes. I looked up the tax rolls. The resident that you attacked isn't even listed on the tax rolls as the homeowner and taxpayer. You made another misrepresentation to everybody here in a personal attack. You really are. It's a shame that you're up there. It really is.
Anyone else like to speak?
Regina DePasqua, Parker Avenue. I made it back. I was at Ernie Cahey's wake. If you did not know Ernie, you have missed out. You have missed out. Ernie was a treasure of Hackensack. From Boy Scouts to vets and everything in between, Ernie was involved with. He's involved with everybody, and could teach a lesson to a lot of people of how to behave, how to treat people, and what you shouldn't say, where the line is. And personal attacks, that's a line when you're a councilwoman. That is absolutely a line. As Mr. Gelber just said, not my taxes. My husband would have come in and talked to you, but I had to restrain him, okay? Because, as I said before, I have family that will defend me. And you came where I live. You are, I assume, did you respond to Ms. Downs? Did you respond to Ms., I'm assuming it was Ms. Greenman that responded to Ms. Downs, because she's the only one that went there. She's the only one that I saw hug Ms. Downs. She's the only one who went there. Now, Ms. Downs just said she's not intimidated. Okay, you said those words. You did. That's where you crossed the line. Now, the rules that you are rules of procedure for meetings, how about some decorum from our council members, that they do not attack residents, that they do not bring up personal issues, that they don't go there. This issue was a property maintenance issue. As I said before, we got a violation for ivy on our garage because the neighbors at 375 didn't like it. They wanted us to put gutters on our garage, which was not required because the neighbors at 375 didn't like it. Meanwhile, on the other side of my yard is this fence that's falling down. Why didn't property maintenance see that? Why didn't they do anything about that? We were threatened, I was threatened to be taken to court by Mr. Malone for not having gutters on my garage. Really? This was appropriate? The issue is property maintenance. It never should have come here. Who told these people to come here? I don't know, whoever responded to them. It's not a city council issue. It is a building department issue. Property maintenance, it's the same inspector signed my bogus violations. The same person. Somebody needs to be retrained there. Absolutely. But also, I think you need some training up there. Ms. Greenman, you do not tell tales out of school. And if you're going to tell them, get the facts correct. And you didn't. So you said things about me that not only were disparaging, but were untrue. And your purpose, to embarrass me, that was your purpose, because there was no other purpose. It didn't belong here. And I don't think you belong there.
Anyone else like to speak?
Can I ask something?
You're going to have
Chair.
your chance during public session for the council.
Kathleen Salvo, 184 Hudson Street. I was here before at the cow, and I'm just going to say what I said before. I too went to Ernie's wake, and we lost a great man, a great Hackensack person. So many of us who live here or who come here and believe in Hackensack, and he was a great asset to Hackensack. He did our Memorial Day services every year, among other things, and he will be greatly missed. This whole thing got out of hand, and again, I'll say it again. Citizens shouldn't have to come here to complain. If we had departments that were running efficiently, if the resident went to the city manager and the city manager didn't take care of it, and then they have to come here, it shouldn't even end up here. And it shouldn't have been discussed here because it was a building matter. And I'll say it again, our building department is dysfunctional, it's unprofessional, it needs a lot of help. And with a professional building department, half these issues, and it's going to cost us a lot of money. They're a liability. They cost us this whole problem then. And this whole property maintenance is wrong. That 311 that you ask us to use, they use this against us. They tell neighbor upon neighbor. I don't know if he got up yet. Tell me your name. Hackensack has been here hundreds of times. Mr. Williams has been here hundreds of times. People have been here hundreds of times. These things should be addressed. It should be like a week's time to do it over. He's been coming here for years. Mr. Williams has problems for years. The neighborhoods are getting bad. People are doing things they're not supposed to. And then they pit neighbors against neighbors. The building department does that. If you put a call in 311, they did it to me. Oh, the one across the street complained about you. Why should I have to call it in? That's their job to see what's wrong. They ride around. They have a car. Why should we use that 311? Don't anyone use that 311 because they take and they hold it against you. And this is what they do. The building department creates problems. They pit each one against each other. And it's not right. It's unprofessional, and you shouldn't be part of this. That's why people are coming here to tell you. We need to clean it up. We need to get a professional, functional building department, and these things wouldn't happen. We would say, everybody would say this embarrassment and all this wasted time. It takes phone calls upon phone calls to get anything done. It's frustrating. You call one thing up, and then something else comes. They give a violation. They don't go back to see if it's done or not, so you have to call again. How many times has he told us that they didn't clean it right? How many times have we heard about the trucks that are parked in the parking lot? They're making the city a mess, and we can't develop it until we clean it up. And the first thing to start is we have to clean our own house before we can develop it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Council.
How are you?
I'd just like to ask a question. I haven't been here in quite a while. Talking about the bus company, okay? You pitted me against the bus company, and I lost. I lost gracefully. But you said about fixing the fence, and to Mr. Sims, I'm directing this at you. From what I understand now, the bus company wants to stop. They put the slats in the fence. They don't have the diesel buses there no more. And as a taxpayer too, from what I'm paying in taxes, I found out all these buses failed inspection. And I've been reporting this. I reported it to the state. I reported it to the council, I think, several times. People's special bus X13, they turn left on the railroad track. They can't make the turn. Then they back up on the railroad track. And several occasions, a train was coming. They didn't do anything about it. So I called the state. They said, oh, we know Mr. Lakey. We'll call him and tell him. But at the same time now, they put the slats in the fence. Now they find a problem with putting the gates up. And it's still the same situation. The problem is they say it's too much trouble to be open and closed. They have to blow the horn. So this particular thing, Mr. Sims, since you're the councilman in that district, more or less, I'm asking you, the entire city council, what can be done now?
Again, Mr. Williams, that sounds like you're saying they have to beep the horn for the fence to open?
Yeah, but they didn't. They put the slats in there and they stopped. Now they, from what I understand.
You mean they stopped? They stopped putting the slats in? They didn't finish the job?
No, they stopped. They don't want to go any further because they found out it's a problem for them to come there and blow the horn and open up a fence.
Well, that has to go back to zoning. I mean, zoning has to deal with that. That's not us. I mean, zoning, if it was ruled by zoning that they needed to put slats in the fence, that was part of the agreement.
Okay.
That's where that needs to be addressed, not here.
Okay, the slats were put in the fence, but what about the gate? And I'm beginning to wonder, this meeting went on between Mr. Sims and the person in the church. we weren't notified, and the person that he dealt with in that, it had nothing to do with, they live nowhere near the track, so why wasn't brought up for? But it's been settled.
I'm not aware of that meeting, so I couldn't even answer.
You're not aware of it?
Of the meeting with Mr. Sims and somebody from the church?
Yeah, and the Lakey organization.
No, I'm not aware of it, but I'm sure Mr. Sims, I mean,
I was just sitting in and Al Borelli talked to, I guess, the voice from the community.
But that wasn't the community. The voice from the community wasn't making a stink about the buses. I was, and the person that was there. And when I sent a representative there, you changed the meeting time. And from one next thing I know, the street was being paved. Everybody was getting a go situation. They never had the meeting. They say she spoke for this particular person, spoke for the community. And I'm right at the track, right where the bus is. And they told me, you fighting a battle that you can't win. They only fight battles that they can win. And I have been complaining about this for so long. But you was there at the meeting, nobody was notified. I should have been notified. But I've been asking you about it, and you give me no information. But anyway, I just wanted to make the council aware of it, because I'm a follower, because went from 25 buses to now about 40. And then as a taxpayer, like I say, all these school buses, none of them was inspected. And I knew it. I told them about all these people had these illegal licenses. They don't, I don't have nothing against it, but they don't speak English and they can't. I run into a lot of people like that. They can't drive the buses, they can't back up. And I deal with buses every day, 6 days a week. Thank you for your time, Council.
thank you.
Chair, I'd like to redress something. Nothing that was asked, but just a question posed, should have been posed maybe to the CFO in regard to the police contracts. Because we have the CFO here now, maybe he can elucidate some of the points. Can it be done?
Why can't that be done in our public comment session? No?
Can be, sure. Either way.
Just wait, we're going to go to public comment, then you can.
Well, I'd like to have him maybe speak, and then some other people will have questions. If I'm going to wait until I speak, then that's going to preclude other people from posing any questions.
No.
And I don't want to put you on the spot.
That should have been.
Mr. Mangan?
We should have had, that should have been on the agenda
Well,
or
I
something.
didn't realize
Should
that
have been on
Mr.
the
Mangan
Cal
is
session.
going to be here. If it's,
We do it on the next Cal session and open.
can we do it now?
No.
Council decision.
Okay? No, now is not the time for that. This is public time.
It's public time. A question was asked by a member of the public,
What
and
was
the
What
response...
was the question about the police contract?
The police contract.
All I heard was
Ms.
how much
Tony
it-
Williams, right. And I thought maybe our CFO is going to be able to give a more complete answer, if that's okay with the council. And Mr. Attorney,
Well, let Mr. Puntasecca finish. And I have no problem with the CFO addressing that, but not during public session. They can stay if they want to hear it.
but then...
There's going to be no back and forth at that point between the council, the CFO, and the audience. Mr. Costa answered the question. You know, he didn't go over all the details of the contract, but she asked what their raise was, and he told me.
I wasn't asked that.
Mr. Puntasecca.
Richard Punasecca, 120 Meadow Street in Hackensack. A few things I like to ask. One, I've been asking to have the back of the garage painted at 30 Van Wettering for going on 3 years now. They painted the entire building 3 or 4 years ago, and they did a nice job, but they never painted the back, which is what I have to look at. I've had Dean, the constable, and I've had Al Borelli down to the 30 Van Wettering time and time and time again. And Al Borelli tells me I keep giving him summonses. Dean told me about a month ago he was going to take them to court because he caught them working on cars outside the garage. And I'd like to find out if there's a date on that, a court date, because I'd like to be there because I've had enough of it. I'm going to have 150 pictures, maybe 200 pictures, and I'm working on cars. The other thing is, I own 36 Van Wettering. The sidewalk is shot. It's shot because everybody drives on it. Now, there used to be, on the corner of Van Wettering and River Street, there used to be a cabinet maker, and they had big heavy trucks come and pick up containers of their waste wood. so they broke up the sidewalk. I got a permit to redo the sidewalk. The town sent me a notice. I got a permit to redo the sidewalk. However, the county is building the property next door. I've had public service, utility trucks all over the sidewalk, putting up telephone poles, moving them back 4 feet. I've had the water company all over the sidewalk while I did main water pipes going into that project. I've had the new people on the corner that moved in. They had, what do you call it, trucks too, with the asphalt for the backfilling. I don't care about all of that. The sidewalk's broke. I'm a contractor. I'm going to fix it. However, the problem I'm having right now is the corner of Van Wettering and River Street. The cabinet guy is gone. He went underwater. He finally gave up. Now there's a guy in there with used refrigerators and washing machines. Every day he has the people buy new washing machines from Sears and all these other places, and the guys take the old ones out. So at the end of the day, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, a truck will come by and pull up on my sidewalk and back up and unload refrigerators and washing machines, and then that guy must repair them and resell them. I says to the guy one time, I says, I says, you can't be on my sidewalk. I said, I got a permit to put new sidewalk in. I'm not going to spend the money to put new sidewalk in and have trucks all over and break it up. He says, I don't care. Okay, I called the police department. I told them there was a truck on the sidewalk. They says to me, well, is it going to be there when we get there, Mr. Punasuk? I said, well, how do I know that? As the guy's unloading refrigerators, it could be 2 more, he's gone, I don't know. In the meantime, I says, all I need is an officer to come down and talk to the guy in the garage so maybe he'll stay off the sidewalk. And my wife and I walked down to the house, to 36 Van Wettering, because we only live around the corner. We get there and we're waiting, it's 90 degrees, she's waiting with me. We're waiting, the cops don't come. A police officer went down River Street nice and slow, didn't turn up the street. Another police officer did come up the street, and I stopped him. And I says, did the police department send you down here? He says, no, I didn't get a call. He says, I just happened to be passing by. I explained the situation to him. He talked to the guy in the building. Fine. That didn't stop the problem. The guy told me he wouldn't be on it, but later on, sure enough, big trucks are on the darn sidewalk again. Now, my problem is, I don't mind putting in new sidewalks. There's nothing wrong with that. I have every intention of doing it. I took the permit out. But I can't do it right away now because it's my busy season. And I need to make money too in order to do what I have to do there. So the fact of the matter is, we're going to do it. I have the permits. How do I keep the people off the sidewalk with the trucks? The corner building I saw has orange stickers on the doors, front and back. Now, I don't know what that's about. Al Barelli must have put it, or whoever, but there's orange stickers on there. The other thing is, what I'm finding out is, and I see it time and time again, just the other day, they take the washing machines and refrigerators, and they put them out on right in front of their doors on the blacktop, and they wash them, hose them off, and everything runs down the sidewalk into the catch basin on the corner. And when they first moved in, I think it was last November, somewhere around there, November, December, they were washing their stuff on the sidewalk, and they had a grease patch as big as that desk. And since they never shoveled their sidewalks the entire winter, not one time, the River Street side, none of it got shoveled. In the spring, the building department went down there and they saw it and they made them steam clean the sidewalk and get it off. Because when it got to be 90, 100 degrees, somebody's going down on that oil slick, grease slick. Now they were there Saturday night washing off air conditioners out there. So they're still doing it. And if you're worried about stuff going in the catch basins and the gutters, it's bad enough that we have a system that is not straightened out. It may never be, and I understand why, but that's outright blatant. That shouldn't be done at all. Meantime, I don't know what's going to happen with 30 Van Wettering. He's not supposed to be there after 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. He pulls away 20 after 6, and about 7 o'clock, 7:30, I'll see him walking back to the garage. One Saturday, it was 9 o'clock, he came out of the garage. I called, I don't know if I called Dean, I think I called Al Barelli at 9 o'clock. And I was so mad, it was his recording on his cell phone, he had a recording, and I raised my voice. I says, listen, I got 2 of you guys watching the garage, and nobody can stop this guy from coming in after 6 o'clock or after 9 o'clock at night. He's either on the
Right.
sidewalk, or he's parked in the street, or he's got hoods open in the church parking lot. And I don't know if anything can be done about it, or if
Well,
it's just...
Mr. Puna, your time is up, but I'm going to direct the city manager. Again, this has been going on from the last council. I remember you addressing it. We're going to send somebody down there,
I'll take
start
care of it,
issuing
Mayor.
the summonses.
Mhm.
I don't want him doing, we don't want him doing car work on the sidewalks, and we got to look into these trucks driving on the sidewalks.
Absolutely, Mayor, I'll take care of it.
All righty, all right. And how can I find out about summonses and stuff like that? Can you fill me in
Sure,
on
I
what
can.
has been done
Mhm,
to
yes.
stop this?
I'll get you a list.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much.
Anyone else? Seeing none, motion to close to the public.
Offer.
Roll call.
Councilmember Pataglia is absent. Deputy Mayor Canestrino?
Aye.
Councilmember Sims?
Aye.
Councilmember Greenman?
Aye.
Mayor LaBrus?
Aye. Okay, at this time, Mr. Manga, would you like to just comment on the contract?
On the police
details-
contract?
The details of the police contract, because it's public record. I don't have an issue with it, it's just was at the wrong time when it was being asked.
Well, since the contract's settled, and now what I can do is I can disclose the same thing that we talked about in closed session before it was settled. Yeah, it's a 1.5% increase to the officers that are at the top step or the rank of sergeant. The employees that are still on the step guide, the steps have been frozen, so that means that the salary steps themselves are exactly the same as they were in the last contract. When you take the existing police force, you factor in the steps, and the 1.5% over 3 years comes out to be about 22%, a little more than an average of about 7% a year.
Right. But that's including the steps. Could you define what the steps are, in case the people don't
Yeah, when when a police officer is hired, typically he's on step 1. Each year he'll go up 1 step until he hits step 6, which is the top step on the guide. Once you hit top step, then you would be entitled to the 1.5% raise.
Right.
Prior to that, you get a step increase. Step increases are roughly about $15,000. I forget the percentage that they work out to be.
In other words, a
7%.
police officer may start at 40,000 and gradually through a 6 or 7 or 8, 9-year process, get up to top pay, correct?
Yeah, the existing salary start at 33,000. Top step is 115,000.
And that money is separate from their raise per se, the 1.5. It's a separate entity, except they're frozen in a step, so they wouldn't be getting that.
Well, again, if you're on the salary guide, you go up a step, you go
Right.
up about $15,000.
Right.
If you're at the top step, you get the 1.5%.
Right.
If I may, Mayor, also add the concessions that came with that
So there were
contract,
some concessions.
which was a $15,000 cap on sick time. There were also additional steps, so there was more involved.
Were there, may I ask,
Sure.
were there any other material differences between the contract that was in force prior to 2012, the end of 2012, and this new contract?
Could you be more specific? What do you mean?
Was there a difference in longevity?
There was not a difference in longevity. The only change in the contract, I believe the first contract still had it in it, the 2% and 4%, which it didn't apply anymore, so that was changed to be applicable to the current staff.
We're not going to, he's not being deposed up here.
No, I'm
You're
not
not
asking about deposition. I'm
it's
asking
like a
about
deposition.
material differences.
Can't start debating the contract.
This should have
I
been
don't have the
discussed.
contract in front of me, really, so it's a little difficult. But
Is it okay or it's not?
No, this is not the time for that. This contract is settled. I don't know where you're going with this, Ms. Greenman. It's settled, it's not going to change, we're not taking it back, we're not doing anything.
Well,
I don't understand the purpose of what you're doing.
Well, I'm gonna wait until I make my statement then.
Okay, that you can do. Mrs. Canestrino.
Okay. I'll just take a quick look through my notes. I had some questions about establishing a resolution as far as rules for the meeting. Yes, we've listened to the public. A couple of folks have brought this up over time. We started looking at it. It's not an easy thing to do. The First Amendment clearly defines the rights of the public, and we don't in any way want to jeopardize that. We do have the first draft. We've reviewed it. Some of us had made comments, and we're going back and forth in an iteration now to make sure that it's what we think is reasonable and, of course, complies to the law. So hopefully we'll be working jointly together and get that accomplished soon. What else do I see here? As far as wanting videos that were not taken by the city or paid for by the city, I'm not sure. I think, Mr. Scrivo, you said we'd look into this, but just so you understand, we don't own that video of the Cal meeting, so we don't have a copy of it, and it was not paid for with city funds. So I'm not sure, but I think we'll keep you apprised if we're able to give that to you or not. I'm not sure about that. What else do I see on here? The young woman who spoke, who said she sent an email to all of us and seemed disturbed that we didn't all respond. As you pointed out, at the end of that email, you said your action was to come to the next council meeting. So when I read that, I assumed that that would be the audience that you wanted with the council. Please don't be offended that no one else reached out to you. When I read that email, I assumed that this was not the first contact that you'd had. I was assuming that things were moving in a positive direction. You addressed the email to "Hi, Anthony." So I assumed that you'd had more than one discussion with the city manager about this issue. When I read your email, and that kind of set a tone where you sounded like it wasn't that you had a relationship and that things were working, and I assumed you were working with our then city manager on it. So I apologize if you felt we didn't address your issue at that time. But certainly we welcome you coming, as we welcome everyone coming. And I know it's difficult to get up in front of a group and speak, and please don't ever feel that you're not welcome and you're not wanted. We don't want to hear what you have to say, because that's absolutely not true. What else do I have here? Talk a little bit about redevelopment. There's a couple of questions mixed in here. Kind of very quickly in Mr. Costa's city manager report, he talked about the approval of the 150, 170 Main Street development there, the site plan approval from the planning board. This is like a wow. I mean, this is really big for the city. This is definitely a great step in the right direction for redevelopment. Just to give you a little bit of background about it, it's planned for, if you think in the corner of Main and Mercer, the bank, and moving down. So we're talking about buying multiple properties. Obviously, address is running 150 to 170 Main Street. I mean, we're looking at this being a project of approximately 382 units. The first floor facing Main Street would be retail, and the rest of it would be, again, up to 14 stories high. An amenities floor. They're planning on having, a pool over the parking deck in the back, a number of amenity rooms to support the residents. It's just going to be a wonderful shot in the arm and a wonderful way to work towards revitalizing our Main Street. We know we have, people are familiar, see the project back on State and Warren. I mean, they've broken ground and they're making more and more progress every day. So that was the number one. And, 150, 170 Main is number 2 project. And the third project that's moving right along is our 210 Main Street project. I mean, I know we've talked about this before. They're in the process now of working through the redevelopment study. We're looking there at maintaining the beautiful integrity of that building. I mean, many of us know, that architecturally that's just a gorgeous building. Inside, that lobby was always absolutely beautiful. So they're looking at taking that building as is and creating rental units inside and, the floors above. And I think they're looking at 90-something units, less than 100 units there. So these are 3 projects that really have taken seed and, are ready to get going in our town and really see some major change for the good in our downtown. And as our CFO has talked about in the past, the key to tax stability is increasing our ratables. And seeing projects like this really come to fruition is wonderful, and it's something we should all feel really good about and be very proud of. Thanks all for coming, and have a good night.
Mr. Sims.
Good evening. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. As the mayor, Kathy and Regina said, God called home one of his soldiers, Ernie Cahey. So my condolences go out to his family. We have heard your concerns tonight, and our city manager will look into it as early as tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Ms. Freeman.
Okay, I'm going to first thank everyone for coming before I'm going to forget. And I'm going to thank Mr. Serbo especially because of his kind words and encouragement. I also would like to thank Isira Downs and her family for coming. Thank you so much. Appreciate Tony and Bart coming. Thank you so much. And I'm going to quote Mr. Solkin. Lo and behold, he said that the council, that we the council, are here defending the city funds and interest. Did I do it correctly?
I can't understand what you're saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't engage me, because I will engage you
Please,
back.
no back and forth.
No. So,
No back and forth.
we the
I
council
didn't start it, John.
are defending the city funds and interests. So I just want to say something that really upset me and bothered me since we voted this contract, this police contract, that we have not seen. So we voted on memorandum of understanding without actually seeing the contract. Never read the terms of the agreement. We never read anything else. Neither did anyone else who could explain it to us except for Mr. Costa. And Mr. Costa limited to saying very few words about it. I feel incredibly undermined, and I think that I feel that the city was not interested, the interest of the taxpayers were not being represented in this particular situation. This is my personal feeling. Now, if other people feel that you feel that this is enough for somebody to tell you some terms of the contract without actually reading the contract and voting for it is okay, I'm sorry. That is not my way of dealing with the situation. So I appreciate that, we could not really discuss any issues because there is no way now anybody can come in and ask all these questions. But I hope there is going to be an investigation. The situation is going to be aired out. All of this information is going to come out. And hopefully this is something that's going to either result in something else happening, or it's going to educate the rest of you taxpayers to really demand and pay attention to what's going on. That's it. Thank you so much.
My turn? Well, thank you. I read the memorandum of understanding and the contract. I thought it was a good contract, well-deserved by our police department, a year and a half late or overdue, and I stand behind my vote. Redevelopment, as Ms. Canastrino said, great time for Hackensack. I mean, there's a chance here for us to really grasp hold. This is what's called a catalyst project, this 14-story building going up. The original renderings are, when you see these things, they're pretty breathtaking. You can only hope that they look as good as the pictures. But you put a couple of these on Main Street, get some people in town, and I think the rest will follow. And then, like we said before, that's our goal. Mr. Serbo, you had mentioned assessments, or you mentioned me saying assessments, and we actually have our tax assessor here now. So, and I don't need you to speak, Art, but the reason you would assess every year for a while, or at least give it a try, is the city is inundated with tax appeals, okay, because the market is so bad. And by reassessing on a yearly basis, it keeps a flat line, so it eliminates the tax appeals. If you are assessed at 100%, there's nothing to appeal. So that's it's a way of thinking. A lot of other towns have done it, and it's worked. And we really need to stop the bleeding with tax appeals right now. We're just, they just keep on coming. We need to stop them. So that's what I was talking about with that. Mr. Puntaseca, I'm going to make sure that the city manager takes care of that, looks into that, especially the trucks driving on the sidewalk. Why are they driving on your sidewalk? I don't understand that, if it's not their property behind it.
It's convenient for them.
Well,
They have no room in front of their building.
that shouldn't be your problem, though.
Just about on property line.
Okay.
They got 18 feet in front of the building.
Okay.
Sidewalk. So when they park their pickup, they're blocking the sidewalk, on the sidewalk.
You're right. Mr. Salkin, I couldn't agree with you more. The night I was sworn in, my speech, I talked about very much the same thing that you were talking about, being able to yell and scream, and, you know, I understand where you're coming from. And, you know, when I ask, I'm only asking. Okay? And, again, Ernie Cahey, what a loss. I mean, the guy was... everywhere you went, there was Ernie. And put a lot of time into the city. He's got a storied history, served his country, served in so many different, you know, benevolent and different types of organizations, and sadly missed. And again, the 100-year centurion, is that right? You call it? Somebody's 100, a centurion?
I think so.
That's great. I mean, it's like the third one I've met. They're far and few between, and it's an honor to get that far. It was an honor to give him my proclamation. It looks like that's it for me. I want to thank everybody for coming, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Don't forget tomorrow night, the Infernos, down at the Green. Great show. All right? Thank you.
Motion
to close.
Offer.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.